Hey, this is Matt once again with about 10 of the videos of the paid request, this time for Efree. Thank you so much for that, to my friend. There's this and one more that he had requested. And this time it's for Bright Lights, Big Cities, which I kept wanting to say Bright Lights, Big Titties. But that's another movie. But this came out in 1988, and by the way, for those interested in requesting any type of videos, reviews, topics, commentaries, video game Let's Drives, playthroughs, whatever the case may be, PayPal is usually the best bet, or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And the info box is either there or there, as of nowadays of YouTube. But this stars Michael J. Fox. It came out in 1988, and this is one of those films, along with Light of Day the year before, and then Casualties of War in 1989, that Michael J. Fox wanted to show that he could do a bit more than just comedy. Now, he would still do comedy. Yeah, The Secret to My Success, I think the year before, around, I think that was 87. And then you had Back to the Future 2 in 89. But, he wanted to do a little bit different type of film. Light of Day, which will be the next review, that's Efree requested as well. Again, that came out the year before. Didn't really do anything box office wise. Neither did this, and it got a mixed reaction from critics. Now, I just spoiler alert for the next review. I was not a fan of Light of Day. I'll get to why in that review, but I was not a fan of Light of Day. I thought Michael J. Fox wasn't the problem, but the movie I thought was very lackluster and kind of forgettable. Felt like a Hallmark Channel movie at times, or Lifetime Channel movie. Here, I didn't mind the film. I thought it was decent. I did not love the film. I thought it was just okay. The best part is Michael J. Fox. Being a fan of him as an actor. Enjoying that he tried to do something fairly different. I think did a very commendable job. He plays a fact checker for a magazine. Him and his buddy, Kiefer Sutherland, they do have drug problem, cocaine problem. There's all these issues going on with Michael J. Fox's life. His boss is on his case at the job. He's not doing the fact checking correctly because of his drug use. His wife left him. His wife is a model played by Phoebe Cates from Gremlins 1 and 2. And then throughout the film, you get these images of a woman played by Dianne Wiest. She was the mom in The Lost Boys. And then you find out later she passed away, and then there's something else to that you find out later on as to why his psyche is not the best going on in this moment. So the first half of the film, the movie's kind of wandering, not really following a strict plot. It's kind of just glossing along with his nightlife with the cocaine, or meeting some ladies, maybe going with them, maybe not going with them. At work, his boss giving him the third degree. There's some co-workers. One's a very nice lady. Some are, maybe not. You don't get to know a lot about the other co-workers. Probably the interesting bit of that is all the little places he hides cocaine. Like this little bit in this desk, or little bits here that he takes in the bathroom. And ultimately, he went out on the town with Kiefer. He's supposed to be fact checking. He did a bad job, and because of it, he gets fired. Now, Michael J. Fox, I said I think he did a commendable job. In particular, he has a monologue where he's fairly drunk. This is pretty much kind of starting the third act of the film, where his co-worker, she came by to see how he was doing, and he's getting drunk, and he gives his monologue about how, why he married Phoebe Cates, and how he wanted to be a successful novelist, but he couldn't write things down. and thought maybe, he would be the one successful and she would be blah blah blah. But then how she got the right connections and she became successful, and apparently she would like look through his stuff so that when in parties he's like, I'm going to be a writer, she would smile and she would laugh at just the point of laughing at his failure or laughing at his frustration, until ultimately she left. And he's doing a much better job explaining that and going through the emotional roller coaster than I could. So I appreciate that. I thought that's a very solid monologue he gave. Kiefer Sutherland, I thought did a good job as his buddy. From what I understand, Michael J. Fox wanted Kiefer to be there as the friend because he knew Kiefer for a while. I guess when he was able to get cast in the role, he was able to pull some sway and go, hey, can you cast this guy to play my buddy? I will say, though, other than Michael J. Fox's performance, I did have issues with the film. Like I said, the movie kind of wandering around, not really having much of a plot until the third act. Because in the third act, we find out what's going on when his brother came by. His brother's played by Charlie Schlater, I believe is the actor's name. He was in this film called All American Murder I liked with Christopher Walken. He was in Police Academy 7, Mission to Moscow. He was in the Ferris Bueller Day Off TV show. I think it's Charlie Schlater. Might have said his name wrong. Where he's like, what are you doing here? It's the anniversary of Mom. And but then finds out that, his wife left and kind of calms down a bit. But you tell that there's something about that Michael J. Fox doesn't want to deal with. And then you find out that a lot of this is due to not just the death of his mom, but like I said, there's more stuff to that, which I'll get into. But the issues is not just because the plot doesn't really find its focus until that point. They throw in weird stuff that I know is based on a novel, and I'm sure this was in the novel. But maybe if that's the case, I don't think it worked on the screen. Like there's this thing about a coma baby. And I get what they're going with, where he'll dream of a coma baby as about someone to their mom, just like he was close to his mom, and can't separate that ordeal between him and the mom. I get that, but at the same time, did you really have to have a dream scene where you have this coma baby that looks like an alien? It looks like something Christopher Walken would see in Communion. It looks like an alien baby done like puppetry, talking with Michael J. Fox's voice, going, I liked it here. You'll die here. Oh well, I liked it here. I want to stay here. What the fuck? I mean, what the hell is this? It looks so stupid and goofy and weird, and I don't know if it was meant to be funny or what. Same with, I was trying to be this serious case on drug addiction, but then we have a scene where him and Kiefer go into the boss's office after hours to have a ferret. But the ferret like bites Michael's hand and almost bites Kiefer's nuts. Oh, is that close? I'm like, does this really work in this kind of movie? About, the serious bits of drug addiction? And I think, like, with this kind of movie, I think it at times played a bit too safe. Like, he gets away from drugs, I thought, a bit too easily. What about the withdrawals? That it should be much more of a struggle for him to kick the habit. Maybe he tries, he falls off the wagon, but then he tries again, maybe the second or third time. And you just really show the ordeal and him getting sweatier and him getting more erratic, more angry, more pissed, yelling at people. It's like they didn't want to do that because they were afraid of making anything seemingly modicum of unlikability for Michael J. Fox's character. But if, I mean, when you see in drug addiction, that does occur even with good people. Good people can still do bad things because that's how addiction a lot of times works. But it's like they didn't want to go into that direction of him like hitting someone he wasn't supposed to, or doing something that maybe they were afraid that if it goes too far, people won't like Michael J. Fox. But I'm like, well, Michael J. Fox has such a likable personality that I think you'd go fairly far and still keep that you hope he kicks the habit thing. And that's what I mean. I think they played a bit too safe. I thought the ending was a bit too neat. It doesn't help that spoilers. He's at this party. Before that, he tried to talk to Phoebe Cates, who's on the walkway, trying to get an explanation. He makes a fool of himself. He's kind of ticked out. Then later on, he's at this party. His nose bleeds a little bit. He cleans up. He calls Kiefer's cousin, who is not that strong of a character because it's supposed to be, okay, this person he can trust. This person he can talk to, converse, tells his baggage. The problem with that is we've only seen this character for 4 minutes total before this ending bit happens. Because I'm sitting there going, she doesn't appear for a while, and it's at a like bookstore. Hey, you're Kiefer's, I forget the character's name, but you're his cousin? They go out to dinner. He walks her home, says goodbye, say 4 minutes. And then you never see that character again until the very end where he gives his phone call and he tells his whole story about, spoilers, his mom was in pain, dire pain, and she wanted it to end. So her two sons eased her pain, assisted her dying. And that guilt eats away at him, and that probably led to the drug usage. The flashbacks with him and Dianne Wiest were sweet, because Dianne Wiest has that sweet, lovable quality you want in a mother character. And you do tell, like, with that, why Michael J. Fox would do whatever he can, whatever he's told. But you would think there'd be some kind of confrontation or some argument between the two brothers. What we did was wrong, and what we did was right. Like, maybe that could help in dealing with his drug addiction. Have like a big knockdown fight argument, fisticuffs maybe with the brothers. Or maybe Kiefer, like this kind of back and forth talk where he, gives way to what's going on. And I actually think the person he would have called would have been the co-worker, because I think they had more of a bond, it felt like, than this girl that was the cousin. Like the monologue he gives to the co-worker, I thought really cemented things. But I guess it's like, well, the co-worker, there was no romantic thing going to come about that, but let's talk to this girl, so maybe give the opinion, the idea in the audience that maybe eventually those two, him and the cousin of Kiefer, will get together. Well, then maybe establish more for instead of being in for 4 damn minutes. So that's what I mean. Like, I see other films about drug addiction, and I just felt it played a bit too safe. Certain characters felt they were barely in it. Certain scenes, like the coma baby stuff, I get how that could relate to it, but I don't think it was done as effective as they felt it was going to be. And overall, I didn't mind it from Michael J. Fox's performance. The see Kiefer Sutherland. Even to see Phoebe Cates play a bit more of a cold, bitchy type of role. Because I'm so used to her from Gremlins 1 and 2. Like I said, the flashbacks with Dianne Wiest were sweet. The Like I said, the acting, the monologue I kept mentioning, even the phone call at the end, really showcased some good dramatic chops from Michael J. Fox. But if I want to see like a full Michael J. Fox dramatic performance I enjoyed more was Casualties of War. I would say that's my favorite drama that he's been in, was Casualties of War. But this I thought was, again, decent. Didn't hate it, that was decent. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.